Hey guys, it's your girl Sunshine Curls, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up with all my new content. I have a lot coming on the way, so yeah. I don't know what that was, but I'm happy to be back. If you just got done watching my video about my first solo vacation to Boston, thank you for watching. Now you're here for my video about tips on taking your first solo vacation. So yeah. Tip number one, I think it goes without saying, is you should stay safe. It's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to a new city, you're going to be by yourself, and you're, in unfamiliar territory. You want to make sure that you stay safe. Whatever that consists of for you, you want to practice safe habits and make sure that you keep your belongings and yourself safe wherever it is that you go. Even if it's known to be a pretty safe city, you don't want to be walking around carelessly or doing things that you wouldn't normally do in your own city. So yeah, you want to make sure that you stay safe. Safety is first, is key, and it's the most important thing. You want to come back alive and in one piece. You don't want to be in any trouble when you go on these trips. You want to make sure that you have a good time. Tip number two, this ties in with the first one. You want to make sure that you don't draw too much attention to yourself. I found an easy way to do that. What I did before I went on vacation, I just quickly searched downtown Boston, which is where I stayed, just to see what people dressed like down there, to know what to pack so that I don't stand out, because every city has its own style and whatnot. I wanted to sort of fit in and not look like a tourist. Because if you're in New York and you see somebody wearing the I Love New York t-shirts, immediately you know they're a tourist, because no one from New York wears those, ever. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't stand out looking like a tourist. I didn't want to bring too much attention to myself. So a quick way to do that, as I said, I went on Instagram and I just hashtag downtown Boston, and I just saw what I'm assuming they're locals, but I just looked what locals wore and got a pretty vague idea of what people dress like there, so I knew how to pack for this trip. Tip number three, you want to make sure that you plan out how you're gonna get to your hotel or your Airbnb or wherever it is that you're staying from the airport or the train station. Ever so often, whenever I travel, I would see some tourists standing outside of the airport or at the train station just looking completely lost. And most of them get swindled by taxis that are out there into taking taxis that cost 2 times the price of what it would typically cost for a local to take it. And you don't want to fall in that trap. You want to make sure that you arrange your ride, and you also don't want to take a ride from a stranger, someone pretending to be a taxi or anything like that. I think it's a really great idea for you to plan how you're going to get to where you're staying from the airport or the train station. Most hotels, if not all, usually have pickup services. You could arrange a ride with the hotel to pick you up from the airport or the train station, take you directly back to the hotel. Or you could already know that you're going to take a ride share, a Uber or a Lyft. Or if you want to take a taxi once you do get out there, it would be a good idea to Google the prices of what the taxis usually are, or you could give them a call so that you could get an idea of what to look out for. To make sure that 1, you're not being overcharged, and 2, you're not getting into a random person's car that is not an actual taxi in that city. Tip number 4, it's a very good thing to trust your gut. When you're traveling to an unfamiliar area, your senses might be heightened and you may overthink certain situations, but I always find it pertinent to trust your gut. Most time your instincts don't lie and they don't lead you in the wrong direction. So if you feel like you're in an unsafe place, or if you feel like someone is being a little too inquisitive, or if you feel like your personal space is being intruded, or you just feel like you need to just get the hell up out of there, I think you should definitely follow your gut and do that. Because it's better to be safe than sorry. You're in somewhere unfamiliar and you're by yourself. You don't want to get caught up in some foolishness. So if your gut is telling you that you need to leave, then listen to your gut and take your ass home. That's it. Tip number 5. I think it is a very good idea to walk confidently whenever you're walking the streets of where it is that you're visiting. You don't want to walk around looking like a lost puppy. You don't want to look like a target. People are crazy, and there's people that target tourists or somebody that looks very vulnerable. So someone by themselves walking around looking like they're lost, that's an easy target to some people. You want to walk with your head high and be very confident. Act like you know where you're going, even if you don't. You want to be confident about each step. And tip number 6, this ties in with tip number 5, to help you to be more confident when you're walking on the streets, is to know where you're going beforehand. So one thing that I did do is on my trip to Boston, I made sure to have a pretty basic idea of where it is that I was going before I left the hotel. I would just check maps and look at the directions briefly, get the names of the main streets so that I knew what to look out for. And one trick, it may not be a trick, a lot of people may already do this, but one thing that helped me on my trip to Boston is that I would just put in the directions on my phone, put my headphones in, put my phone in my pocket, and the direction is telling me, oh, turn right, turn left, and I'm still looking as if I know where I'm going. I'm not looking around lost, but I'm just have my headphones in, looking like a regular person on the street. Tip number 7. It is a very good idea to update a friend or a family member or both about your whereabouts on your trip, just so that someone could have an idea of where it is that you should be at a certain time or where it is that you will be for the day. Just in case anything does happen to you, they'll know that Cavell was supposed to be here, or Cavell was supposed to be there at 6 p.m. or she was supposed to be back at the hotel by 8. We haven't seen her or we haven't heard from her. We know that something's up. Another thing that you can do if you have an iPhone, you could share your location with a family member, your boyfriend or a friend, so that they could just see where you are and check up on you if, God forbid, anything ever happens. Tip number 8. You want to make sure that when you do meet strangers, you don't want to give out too much information. You definitely don't want to give out your hotel room number. You don't want to tell them exactly where it is that you're staying, because they don't need to know that. You don't have to tell them when you're leaving or anything that's too personal. I wouldn't recommend giving out too much information because, one, you don't know who these people are. You don't know what their intentions are. You want to just, kind of play it safe. Tip number 9. I would say to do some research, especially if you're going out of the country. I would say it's a very good idea to do research about where you're going, because some countries and some states have some unique laws that you may not have in your own state or country. So I think it's a good idea to check out the laws about the places that you're going to, just to make sure that you don't end up in some random country's jail, or you don't get a fine or anything like that. Tip number 10 is about getting your picture taken. One thing that I was concerned about when I went on my trip to Boston is who was going to take all my pictures, because I need pictures for Instagram and for Twitter and Tumblr and Pinterest and all of that good stuff, because obviously if you didn't take pictures, it didn't happen. Not true, I don't believe that, but I'm just saying, I like to have pictures taken. So one thing that helped me out on this trip was, one, my mini tripod. That helped me out a lot. I would just put my phone on the tripod, set the tripod up on a table, or attach it to wherever, and I got my picture taken as if, someone else was taking it. Or you could use props to just hold up your phone to take the picture. And one thing that was actually pretty fun for me was I brought my Polaroid camera on my trip, and I took a lot of pictures, not necessarily of myself, but of like the places that I went to, all the sites that I saw, and I took pictures of that. And now I have like a little collection of pictures, and I think I'm gonna just like create an album of Polaroid photos whenever I go on a trip. So there's a lot of stuff and substitutes that you could do when it comes to taking pictures. You know, selfies are gonna be your best friend. Self-timer in your phone, that's another good thing too. So you have selfie, self-timer, you got the mini tripod, props, just prop your phone up against whatever it is that you find, put the self-timer on and take your pictures. You'll be alright. I promise, you'll be good. You can still get your pictures taken for the gram when you go on a solo vacation. And you could also ask strangers. Like, don't be afraid to stop a stranger in the street and ask them, like, can you take this picture for me? A lot of people will be okay with doing it, and yeah, you could do that. And tip number 11, that was so awkward. Tip number 11, it's the most important tip. It is to have fun. A vacation is for you to relax and have fun. So you gotta remember to just focus on that. You don't wanna, even though a lot of these other tips are important about staying safe and planning and blah blah blah, you don't want to spend too much time focused on those stuff. You still want to make sure that you go on this trip and you have a lot of fun. You want to have a blast. So yeah, don't get too caught up in all the, little things. Go out there and have your fun, because that's what vacation is for. So if you guys do go on solo vacation, or if you have any other tips that you would like to add, comment below and let me know what are some of your tips and what helped you to get through your first solo vacation. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below, and I'll see you next time.